Only a handful of people know the story you are about to hear. After several prank calls and one almost missed call, we finally connected with a birth mother. Everything was going smoothly, or so we thought. Then one day our attorney called me and said the adoption was off. Did you finally realize your dream of having a family, only to have your happily ever after turn into a nightmare? Do you find yourself up late at night wondering why nothing you try as a parent is working? Are you searching for adoption resources and a support team but can't find any? Hi neighbor, welcome to Anchors of Encouragement. I'm Tim Maudlin, husband, adoptive parent, Bible class teacher, and the persistent encourager. I too felt the joy of having a family of my own, and I wished we could be like other adoptive families. I knew we were doing our best, but nothing seemed to work. And I kept asking myself, why is this happening to us? In Anchors of Encouragement, my mission is to throw adoptive parents a lifeline and be your anchor, to offer biblical mindset support and to provide stability when life gets unstable. If you're ready for real and raw talk that leads to peace beyond comprehension, so you not only survive but thrive in life's storms, this podcast is for you. Hope and healing are on the way. Hi neighbor, welcome to another episode of Anchors of Encouragement. Today I would like to share a story with you, much like the one I shared with you in episode 24. It's in response to an answer I received in our Facebook group. One adoptive couple made this statement to me. They were struggling to trust that adoption is what God wanted for them. I would encourage you to go back and listen to episode 24. I won't give all of the details here today, but it was about the phone call we almost missed. In that episode, I also suggested that you ask God for clues that will help you to get through the struggle. Now let me back up a bit as we get into today's story. Just like I mentioned in the opening, after several prank calls and one almost missed call, we did connect with a birth mother. We were excited. After we did connect with her, we decided it was time to visit. So we made arrangements to meet her in a place that she chose, something that would make her feel more comfortable. We were all nervous, but the visit couldn't have gone any better. We felt there was a real connection there. After our visit, we determined that future contact would either be through our toll-free number that she had called from the ad or through our attorney. Most of our communication with her was done through the attorney, and that was on purpose. We wanted to make sure everything was done above board. We wanted to make sure everything was done in the best interest of the birth mother, the baby, as well as ourselves. Everything was going smoothly until one day. One day I received a call from our attorney. Something happened that made our birth mother mad, and she hung up on our attorney. To this day, I still don't know what it was, but he called to let me know that she had hung up on him and that the adoption was off. I was devastated. After all of the prank calls and then almost missing her call, now the adoption was off. He tried to comfort me and says, well, you can just find another birth mother. And that was his advice. Start looking for another birth mother. It felt like we were back to square one. We were really struggling with this news. It reminded my wife and I of the time we went through in vitro. And when that was not successful, the doctor would just say, you can try again. Well, that's easier said than done. It's a financial hit for one, but more than that, it's an emotional hit. Mentally and emotionally, you are drained when you have failure after failure. And here we were, with the hope that we had finally found our birth mother, and that in a few months we would be able to parent a child. For that to be taken away from us, it was a gut punch. I know I've mentioned this several times on the podcast already, but this journey really is a roller coaster. There are extreme highs and there are extreme lows. We had the extreme high when we made the connection and then had the visit that went so well. And now, all of a sudden, it's off. We were as low as we could get. Several weeks passed. Then one day at work, I got another call from our attorney. The adoption was back on. Our birth mother had called his office, and everything was fine. She told us later that there was never anything that she was upset about us with. There was some disagreement that she had with him, but it wasn't us. She never considered looking for another family to adopt her baby. So we were back on. After I got off the phone with our attorney, I remember turning to my boss and telling him, I just became a dad. Here's what I mean by that. We had been through so many years of disappointment. We had finally found a birth mother, only to think that the adoption was off, and now it's back on. At that point, I surrendered to God, because even though we had a few months to go in the pregnancy, there was no guarantee that she would actually sign the papers. But I was determined, for as long as the pregnancy lasted, to do what I could, my wife included, to do what we could to make sure this baby was as safe and healthy as possible. I might be a dad for only a few months, but I was going to be the best dad I could be. My wife, Mary Beth, would take our birth mother to her doctor appointments. We wanted to make sure that she was healthy and the baby was healthy. We just did what we could. Fortunately, I was able to be a dad for more than just the next few months, because after the baby was born, she did sign over her rights. When thinking back on this story and thinking about the idea of surrendering to God, giving this all to God and letting Him work His plan, I'm reminded of some passages in the book of Deuteronomy that I would like to share with you. Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 6. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid and do not panic before them. For the Lord your God will personally go ahead of you. He will neither fail you nor abandon you. Now, in the context of this chapter, Moses is telling the Israelites to be strong and courageous because they're going into a land that has giants in it. That's why he says, don't be afraid. Don't panic. God is going to be with you. He will neither fail you nor abandon you. As my wife and I were struggling to wonder whether God wanted us to adopt, our giant was adoption. We came to realize that we needed to be strong and courageous and not be afraid, that God will personally go ahead of us, that He will not fail us nor abandon us. This phrase and idea is repeated in verses 7 and 8 of Deuteronomy 31. Be strong and courageous, but there's a slightly different wording that I want to share with you. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord will personally go ahead of you. He will be with you. He will neither fail you nor abandon you. Don't be afraid. Don't be discouraged. With so many setbacks, we were afraid we would never get the chance to be parents. We were discouraged. We were really struggling. Again, this phrase is repeated in verse 23. Be strong and courageous. To summarize the ideas in this chapter, be strong and courageous. Don't be afraid. Don't panic before the giants, whatever those giants are. Don't be afraid or discouraged, because God is your personal guide and God is your leader. Let's get to your daily doable. I broke this down into 3 different ideas. Number 1, using the text from Deuteronomy 31, be strong and courageous. Number 2, surrender to God. And then number 3, this is the sign-off for each one of these episodes. Do what you can now. Do what you can and leave the rest to God. As I'm recording this episode, it's been 22 years since I got that phone call from the attorney. 22 years since I told my boss I became a dad. By the grace of God, I've been able to parent that boy. He's now a young man. I hope through all the stories that I share with you on this podcast that you will find hope and healing, knowing that there are people who have been through the things that you're going through, that you can get through these. But please, please, put your trust in God. Surrender to Him. He will not leave you nor forsake you. That's all for this episode. Before I go, I would like to invite you to join our community. There'll be a link to our Facebook group in the show notes. It's where I can understand how best to support you in your adoption journey. Until next time, this is Tim, encouraging you to do what you can now. If this podcast has given you the courage and confidence to face storms in your life, the number one way you can thank me is to leave a written review on Apple Podcasts. Tell a friend about the show. Take a screenshot of this episode and share it in your Instagram stories and tag me at Tim Maudlin. You can also connect with me in my Facebook group, Anchors of Encouragement. So until next time, this is Tim encouraging you to do what you can now.